question 5, or question 10 overall in the logic game section, looks strangely similar to the question before. So we can think about, well, maybe we can approach this in a similar way to what we just did. The question reads, if limelight is shown exactly 3 times, harvest is shown exactly twice, and greed is shown exactly once, then which of the following is a complete and accurate list of the films that could be the first film shown on Thursday? So the information that we're given is very similar to what we were given in the previous problem. And we can say now we have L going 3 times, H going twice, and G going once. And the first thing we want to do is ask ourselves, what can we do with this information? So again, let's start with the one that has to go 3 times, because that's the one that's the most limited, given that we have this rule here. So if L has to go 3 times, then we have to put L on each of the days. We can then look through our rules to see what else we can fill in. So each film goes at least once. Well, we know that that's going to be true given this. Films don't repeat more than once per day. Okay, not sure what to do with that. H has to go on Thursday and nothing has to come after. So given that, we know that we have to place one of our H's over here. Exactly one of G or L has to go on Friday and nothing has to come after. Well, we already have an L here, so we know that we can't have a G, and anything else that's on Friday has to come before L. Our last rule says we have to have exactly one of G and H, and nothing has to come after. So here we have exactly one of G and H, we just don't know which one, and it has to come after this L here. So this is what we've done given the rules that we've had at our disposal the entire time. Now let's learn from what we did in the previous question and say let's explicitly come back and look at this 3-2-1 issue and see if there's anything else that we can do. We've already taken care of the fact that L has to go 3 times. We now know that there have to be 2 H's. So in this situation here, we've accounted for one of them. We say, well, the other H could go here, or as far as we know so far, could go here. So we're not really sure what to do with that. We know that there's going to be exactly one G. Well, technically, we still don't know whether that G goes here or whether that G goes here. So in this case, we're not putting any more specific information in and say, well, how far can we get with what we've done thus far? As a reminder, our question asks, which one of the following is a complete and accurate list of the films that could be the first film shown on Thursday? So we're looking for which films could start off our film festival in this spot here. So when we have a question of the form, which of the following could be, it's usually easier to cross off the 4 answer choices that in fact can't be. So let's take that approach and see how far we can get. One thing that we notice here based on what we've already done is that H cannot be the first film on Thursday simply because we can't stick another H out here. So any answer choice that contains an H cannot possibly be the correct answer choice. So we can get rid of choice A, we can get rid of choice C, and we can get rid of choice E. So just based on this one simple observation, we've gotten rid of 3 of the 5 answer choices. You'll notice that the answer choices that we have left are L or G and L. So in that sense, it doesn't even make sense to ask the question of whether L can be the first film shown on Thursday, because all of the answer choices that we have left tell us that it can. So let's not waste our time. The relevant question here to differentiate between these last 2 answer choices is to say, is it possible for G to be the first film shown on Thursday. So let's try to make that happen and see whether in fact we reach a contradiction. If we're trying to see whether it's possible for G to be the first film shown on Thursday, well, that means that we have to place it here. And then think about where we can go from there. What I notice now is that we've accounted for the 3 L's, and we've accounted for the 1 G. So we can't place G's anywhere else in this diagram. Therefore, we know that on Saturday, given that we have to have one of G and H, we don't have another G to place, so this here has to be an H. And it seems like we've now placed everything, because we have 3 L's, we have 2 H's, and we have 1 G. So we can make sure that this satisfies all of the rules. Each film is shown at least once. Well, that by definition is true. Films don't repeat more than once per day. Seems like we're good with that. H is on Thursday with nothing after. Seems like we're good with that. We have exactly 1 of G and L on Friday, and it's last. That's fine. We have exactly 1 of G and H on Saturday. That's fine, and nothing is after. So this appears to satisfy all the rules. So if we're asking the question, can G be the first film shown on Thursday? That answer is in fact yes, and our correct answer choice is choice D. As a final note on this game, you may have noticed that even though we drew this grid up here, we actually didn't come back and refer to it a whole lot. So that how much we end up using process of elimination and how much we're in fact able to rule out on this sort of a grid is really going to depend on the individual game. And it's going to be fairly hard to tell right up front how useful this tool is going to be. Given that, it oftentimes makes more sense, especially when you get efficient at drawing the grids, to just draw it and have your default for it to be here even if you don't use it a whole lot, because it forces you to think up front about the logistics of the game rather than just dive into the questions without brainstorming what possible deductions could be made.